Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing fine today. If you're new to my channel, just go through my channel. There are lots and lots of content for you to binge watch and enjoy. Try to get to know I and my contents. For today, I want to share something I found out or discovered in a book I'm reading entitled The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housewell. And there's so many stories and examples he gives because, like I see, the book has to do with the psychology of money. But some of the examples, if not most, applies to our real world, applies to other aspects of our lives as well. And there's a chapter in his book titled Luck and Risks. And after reading that chapter, it changed my mindset in a way that it opened me to a different view to life and a different understanding. And I thought to myself that I needed to share it with you guys, because it's just good that we all get to learn things like this. We get to experience different views from ours. Perhaps some of you already have this idea, especially if you read the book, or perhaps you just have this idea. So yeah, I just thought to share it with you guys. So what we'll be talking about today will be luck and risks. In this book about the luck and risks, he went on to explain in the book that luck and risks are the reality that our outcomes are dependent on external forces and not just individual efforts. Luck and risks are like siblings. They are doppelgangers to each other, and you can't believe in one without equally respecting the other. And I went on reading into what he meant by luck and risks. We always say, oh, this person was so lucky, or that person was so lucky. And in as much as he's saying luck and risks are the reality that every outcome is dependent on a different force and not based on our efforts and our decisions. And it just made me ask, when we see someone is lucky, when can you say someone is lucky, or when can you say that was someone's 100% effort? You really cannot quantify luck in that aspect. And there was something really touching he said in the aspect of, we're going to get to it, but let me just touch on it a little, in the aspect of not looking up to people and trying to emulate their lifestyle exactly, because just as I said, you don't know when luck plays a factor, or it is your success or your hard work that played the factor. You can't know. If we're to all bring us our lives and to check out where luck played a factor and where our hard work, there are some people that you might not look up to in that aspect, which is what he was trying to explain. So just as he said, you cannot believe in one without respecting the other. There's a thin line between luck and risks. That's a thin line between inspiringly bold and foolishly reckless. He gave a story about a man named Cornelius Vanderbilt. I don't know if you know about him, but he's mostly known for railroads and shipping. And there was a time where he wanted to construct a railroad in New York City. And someone asked him that, hope he's going to do it in accordance with the statuses of New York City. And he went on to make a statement saying, you don't expect me to build a railroad according to the status of New York City. And for so many people, that's so inspiringly bold. He went after what he wanted. He didn't care about anything. But in reality, he actually broke a law to be able to create that railroad. But because it worked out, we tend to, glorify and emulate that, oh, this person did not let this thing stop them, blah 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 blah. But at the same time, just as I say, there's a very thin line, or just as he said, there's a very thin line between luck and risks. If he ended up in the other side, risks is just the other side of luck. If he had fallen to the other side of risks, things didn't go as planned, and the law enforcement got involved with the situation, and it led to him having a criminal record, the story will be different today. People will call him, oh, he was so foolish, he knew he was breaking the law. Or perhaps if they were going to speak about examples, people you should look up to, you won't look up to someone that is intentionally trying to break the law, if that makes sense. So in reality, when we tend to celebrate people, we should not be too soaked in with doing exactly to a T what people are doing, especially when it's a one in a million case. They are too extreme for us to use it to quantify, or for us to use their lessons for our life. There's another example he gave with Mark Zuckerberg in 2016 when Yahoo offered him $1 billion for his company, but he rejected the offer. And there are so many people that would be so surprised that he could turn down such an amount of money. And Mark Zuckerberg went on to do greater things, and he is worth more than that currently. But imagine that he fell to the other side of risks, and Facebook or whoever he is today wasn't accomplished. Everyone will call him a failure. Everyone will say, do not be like Mark Zuckerberg, do not do this, do not do that, especially knowing that at some point in his life, he rejected $1 billion. There are people that will call him the world's greatest fool, but that is not said because everything worked in accordance for him. But in the same vein, there's someone out there that is also like Mark Zuckerberg, but perhaps he fell into that other side of luck, which is risks. Would you say that person didn't try hard enough, or that person did not give it his or her all? You can't really say things like that. That is why we have to come to the understanding of luck in success. Now, another example he gave was Bill Gates. We all know Bill Gates. Bill Gates happened to attend one of the high schools, one of the only high schools in the world to have a computer. He happened to school there, and he had a classmate called Kent, classmate and a friend who wasn't into computers but was into business, and he and Bill Gates were friends and they had plans to do things in the future. But unfortunately, Kent died on a mountaineering accident in high school. The chances of dying on a mountaineering accident is 1 in a million. And the chances that Bill Gates was able to attend the high school that was one of the only schools in the whole world to have a computer at that time is 1 in a million. So these two cases, they have the same force, the same magnitude, just working in different directions. He went on to say, in cases that is so extreme like this, you can't really help but to believe that some sort of luck played a role. And that is why it's so dangerous for people to set out trying to do exactly what Bill Gates did, because if luck actually played a role, you can't really depend on luck, because luck is not quantifiable and luck is not something you can emulate. Just as he said that you cannot believe in the other without respecting the other. If you truly believe in luck, then you also have to believe in risks, that a day can come. Just as there was something else he said, that when things are going so good, just as I said in the beginning of the video, that nothing is as bad or as good as it seems. When everything is going so fine, it is not as good as you think it is. And then one day you can just wake up and your life is turned around because of risks. So that is why he is encouraging people or telling people to understand the role of luck in success. And now this is not to say everybody or Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg and the rest, all their achievement is tied to success. No, that is not the point. He's trying to say there is a role to luck in success, and we have to come to the understanding, because we are a generation or society that largely thinks, or a world that thinks that most poor people are poor because of laziness, and most rich people are rich because they are successful. There was also another example he gave using stock market. Imagine that you were to invest in a project that had 80% chance of succeeding, 80%, not 100%. So according to the law or whatever it is you're doing the right thing. And unfortunately, let's say you happen to fall in that 20% that it just didn't go according to plan. That is risk, You cannot say this person did not do their best or this person did not try all they were supposed to do. They just happen to fall on the other side. And luck and risk is not something you get to pick and choose. So when judging your success and judging the success of other people, you should be very careful in who you say, oh, behave like this, or don't behave like this. Because there was a part he said on Forbes list, they don't add the names of entrepreneurs or business people who made the right steps but fell into the side of risks. They only award people that made it, even people who made reckless decisions and just happened to succeed by luck, they are the ones who enter Forbes, not the ones who, even though they did everything right, they ended up on the side of risk. So it is really critical for us to be very cautious and mindful in the people we look up to, the people we praise, and the people we look down upon. And we also have to be careful that not all our success is attributed to our efforts and our decisions. There are sometimes that it is just luck, and especially cases like the extreme ones, it is really dangerous for you to set out, especially when you're looking up to someone and you are trying everything to do, oh, I'm supposed to do this, no, I'm not supposed to do that. In the aspect of our decision making, for someone to take a risk, there are so many things that go on behind the scenes before you take a risk. Past experiences, what your thought pattern is like, how you see life, all of those are dependent on how you take your risks. And you and another person can never ever have the same kind of life or think to a T in the same situations, so you cannot go ahead emulating people to a T, because you don't even know the place where even in your life luck played a role, or it was all by your effort. So in other words, the book is trying to encourage us to try and focus on broad patterns, broad stories, and not individual examples, extreme examples. The world, you and I will mostly want to look up to billionaires, CEOs, the who's of the who's, and then those people in the news that also feel they are so quick to be like, do the things this person did, don't do the things this other person did. But you don't know. How do you know if this person that you're actively saying don't be like this person in the future just happen to be at the other side of risks? That is why it is said, yes, failed careers are because of some failed careers are because of laziness, and success is because of effort and hard work. Do not make that mistake. But there are also times where in life where you have to respect the role of luck and risks. And why they say you should not, or why he said we should not focus on extreme examples, is because the more extreme their outcome is, the less applicable it is to your life, you and I, or the less applicable their lessons would be in our life. Because the more extreme the outcome is, the more likely that outcome was influenced by the extreme end of lucks or risks. So you cannot let that apply in your life. You should mostly focus on broad examples. Like, for example, you tend to hear people say work hard. The key to success is working hard, consistency. You have to be disciplined. You tend to hear it from everyone and everybody, but you cannot stay on a particular, let's say for example Bill Gates, you want to invest, or let's say Warren Buffett, you want to be a great investor like he is, but his own case, his outcome is too extreme for you to be like, that's exactly how I want to do it. Because just as he said, or just as the book says, the more extreme the outcome is, the less likely it is to apply to you. So yeah, I just thought to touch on this luck and risk because it gives some insights and added perspective to how I see life. This thing that they always say, be careful who you look down on. Truly, we should be careful on who we look down on and who we look up to. And when they say someone is your role model, you're not supposed to try and emulate that person's life to it. There are so many other factors, and it is also very dangerous to go about life thinking everything is about luck. Also, remember that when judging others, attributing their success to luck can make you sound jealous and mean, even though we know that luck plays a huge role. And also, associating luck when judging your own success, associating success to luck can be demoralizing, because it can make you feel like there's no point in your hard work and effort since other people just happen to get it by luck. No, that's not it. It's just understanding that in life there is a role for luck, and you should not beat yourself so much when judging yourself and also judging other people, yourself especially. And you should not be too dependent on your effort and your decisions, thinking everything comes from your effort and decisions, because sometimes even the best of the best just happen to have 50% of their decisions right, not 100%, 50% or 40%, and from that 40%, it was so much that it had overflow to cover up for the remaining part. So yeah, we have to understand the role of luck in success and also be very mindful in trying to emulate extreme cases. One in a million, just like lottery winners, it is a one in a million chance. Yet you find out that people buy it every day just because of that psychology of maybe one day it might be me perhaps, but before you realize you spend thousands and thousands of dollars down the drain and it hasn't been you yet. And this is not to demoralize you or to take away hope. It's just saying we have to come to the place where we understand that not all success was gotten through hard work, and not every failed career or failure or poverty is due to laziness. We just have to be very careful with the people we admire, the people we look down upon, the people will say these are the people we should do what he did, what she did, this person you should not do what this person did, you should not do what that person did. You don't have the full picture, especially when you're judging other people. You tend to judge them that there's no way, it has to be wrong decision, it has to be carelessness, it has to be laziness. But when it comes to your own life, you're able to understand that you came to the other side of risks. Why? Because you know what you're thinking, you know what's in your head, you knew the steps you took, you knew what you're supposed to do, you knew what you did. But for the other person, our brain, the human brain, is just wired like that. We don't like nuance, we just like the easy route, white or black. So we just conclude that okay, this person succeeded because the person is so hardworking, or this person is so poor, or is a failed person because of laziness. But when it comes to your own self, you can give yourself grace in judging yourself. Why? Because you know what's in your head. But for the other people, you don't know. You can never be sure. And just as he said, if we are to keep our lives, and we should look at where luck played a role and where success played a role, there will be so many people that would not say, okay, look up to that person. There was even this story he gave about a man. I've forgotten his name. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten his name. He gave a story about a man. If I remember, I'll add his name to the video. And while he was alive, there was no one who wanted to emulate him. There was no one who even thought about him in that aspect. But after he died and he left almost $500 million behind, that was when people started saying, oh, you need to be like that man, we need to start thinking like, so things like that tend to happen in our world, and we tend to lose ourselves in the midst of everything. So yeah, I just thought it was a fascinating topic that I should share with you guys. But let me share something he wrote. He said, more importantly, in as much as we recognize the role of success, the role of risks means we should forgive ourselves and leave room for understanding when judging failures. Everything worth pursuing has less than 100 chance of succeeding, and risks is what happens when you end on the other unfortunate side of that equation. So that's it, guys. When you're doing something or people are doing something with 80% success or even 90% success, there is no guarantee to it, because there's a thin line between luck and risk. It's possible that you can end up in the 10%, and as far as our world is concerned, that's a failure who didn't do the right thing, without understanding that it could happen to anyone, and when it happens to you, you have to understand or come to the understanding to give yourself grace for room for error. One cannot know it all. You just have to give room for understanding when judging yourself. So yeah, I just thought to share it with you guys. I hope I did not confuse you guys with my explanation, but let's move into what I've been watching this week. For this week, I've just been catching up with my old regular shows like Lioness, Penguin, Tulsa King, and Found. Guys, this Found, all the series I'm mentioning are what a watch is. When they say that's a show, all of them, I will classify them as that. Like, they are very, very good and interesting shows, and they are all series, but you can't find any on Netflix. I'm going to add their pictures so you know the exact one I'm talking about. But guys, this Found, they just keep taking our minds further and further and further, and the story just keeps getting more sick and twisted. And sir, I don't know if you've been following my videos where I talk about them, but Sir, which is one of the main characters, the kidnapper, I just don't know where on earth such a person came from. Guys, you guys just really need to give this series a watch. You will not regret it. And if you've watched it, please feel free to leave it in the comment section so it can encourage others to give it a watch as well. They are really, really interesting TV shows, especially now that we're moving towards the holiday seasons. These are good shows you can watch by yourself, with your family members as well. So yeah, that's what I've been watching this week and what I've been listening to this week. The only song for me this week will be Kese, Dance by Whiskey. And guys, that song is such a jam. The beat is from another world entirely, and I love the instruments in the beat, like the saxophone, the talking drum. The beat is just so beautiful, different from the normal usual whiskey, something different, something nice, something nice, so it's really warming us up for the album, and I really can't wait to listen to the album, especially after this second single. I'm really such a fan of the song. It's been on repeat for like 2 days now since it came out, so yeah, give it a listen if you haven't, even though I know you must have. And yeah, for my playlist, Victoria's playlist, I always update songs. You should give it a listen. Perhaps we have the same taste in music, or you might come to like my taste in music. Just give it a try. It's called Victoria's Playlist and it is public. You can listen to it. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you once more for joining me. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.